systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, SHIPIT Nation YouTube station? We're back with the Monday NBA show here, man. Which we got a massive slate tonight here. We got 2 NFL games on tap. We had a great weekend over here at the Nation. Members winning over $600,000. That's just to post the big ones in the Discord, man. How was your weekend? I'll bring you in. Happy Monday. What's going on, man?
Yeah, no, doing good. As you can see, no air traffic control headphones on tonight. I'm in a lovely hotel in Memphis, Tennessee. Be going to that Grizzlies Mavericks game later tonight. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to talking this slate. Should be a good one. We've got a lot of value popping, especially on that Knicks side. So let's dive right in. We got a lot of games to talk about, Nate. I can't hear you.
Oop, I was on mute like a donkey. So, yeah, obviously when there's a lot of games, you can look for some games to cross off. We'll talk through it as always here. If you guys are new, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. And if you are not a member yet, it's the last chance to get in with this promo code TRY20. Get you $20 off your first month's payment. Includes the 6 month, includes the annual subscription as well. Best all-in rate in the industry here. Check us out. We got all the NFL stuff up tonight. We got the NHL stuff up tonight. And obviously we'll have you covered for the NBA slate here tonight. We're going to go by the DraftKings games order, or the order here on the Solver, our optimizer partner here. First game, how much we got the Miami Heat here and the Charlotte Hornets. In this game, injury report for this one, Mark Williams is doubtful. Nick Smith is doubtful with a foot. Bam Adebayo is out. Higgs Smith here is out as well. Pretty decent close spread here in this one, but first game of the night here. We got some injury news in here. First couple plays that I'm looking at here from an ownership standpoint that are popping a little bit here. Nick Richards, obviously, with that Mark Williams news, he's 4.6K, but gets a pretty tough matchup here against Bam Adebayo. Kevin Love are kind of some of the plays getting ownership here in this one. Where are you looking in this one, Charlotte and Miami?
Yeah, this game I think is going to be a little juicy in my opinion. I like Terry Rozier tonight. Point guard, shooting guard eligible, 8,300 over on DraftKings. Don't mind Terry Rozier. You said it. If Mark Williams does sit, Nick Richards, I think is viable. So don't mind Nick Richards. And then Orlando Robinson. I think Bam Adebayo is out. Nades, isn't that correct?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So Bam's out. So I like that the center for Nick Richards if Mark Williams sits. And then on the flip side, I like Orlando Robinson too for these Heat. Don't mind either one of those. I think both of those are great plays, especially Robinson, especially Rozier. I really like both of those. Is kind of where I'll be starting this game.
Yeah, I like those two plays there. Orlando Robinson's been pretty good with the when Bam's not out there. Obviously struggled a little bit last game against Cleveland, but Cleveland's got the towers there, right, with Mobley and Jared Allen and that. You could see him bounce back here in a matchup against Nick Richards and the Hornets here. I like both centers a little bit in this spot. Miles Bridges is popping pretty good in our projections over here at the Nation. Seeing pretty low ownership on him, so I wouldn't hate a guy like Miles Bridges here. But first game of the night here, 222 total. Not one of the best totals on the slate overall from a total standpoint here, but it is a close spread, just a 4-point spread. So I think you can pull some plays. Obviously, you can always play a Jimmy Butler as a spend up, but I'm kind of team no Jimmy until the playoffs, right, when he kind of turns it on, especially at that almost 9K price point on this one. So not my favorite game to start it off. I think you can grab either one of these centers personally, but let's jump into the next game here, Washington and Philly. And, man, you got to talk about it. You got to talk about Joel Embiid. He's got almost a 70 projection here. Where are you going in this one? Washington, Philly, 11-point spread in this one. 244 is the total here. Massive total, massive spread. Where are you going?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost tough to fade Embiid in this situation. We've seen already twice this season. I think he got 79 and 76 in this game. So he's going to be a tough fade. Obviously, the concern would be that, it's a blowout scenario. The Wizards are probably the worst team at defending the rim. Now, taking into consideration that Dan Gafford has also been listed as out as well, I think Joel Embiid, at his price, at what he can do, you said it, projection is super high. I think he exceeds that projection tonight. I really like Joel Embiid as a spend up. My only concern there would be we have so much value at the center position. We mentioned Orlando Robinson. We'll obviously talk about some other folks as well. My second favorite 76er that I want to talk about who's still super duper cheap. It's Nick Batum. Just does so many little things for this team, and hopefully he can get some more rebounds, assists, and things like that. So I don't mind Nick Batum tonight, as a cheap kind of fill-in type of play. But for me, it would only be Embiid, and then I might have a little bit of a Batum. That's where I'm going, and then no Wizards for me. I'm just going to be off of this Wizards team tonight.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. Embiid, definitely my favorite stud on the slate. It's hard to ignore this spot here for Joel Embiid, so I really like him. No Wizards with you there. And then I do think Batum's a fine value play at 4,400. He's been playing pretty good. If he sees 33 or 29 to 33 minutes there again, I think he's a fine value play at 4,400 here. But the only thing I think that's going to slow Embiid down here is a blowout. But man, look at his game log. He hasn't scored under 68 DraftKings points in his last 5 games there, and now it gets a nut matchup here against Washington. So obviously Embiid, I'm seeing pretty low ownership on him right now as well. If that stays true, I mean, I really like Embiid at 11.7 here. So I really like that spot. Let's jump into the next game here, Cleveland and Orlando. In this one, we do have some news. Obviously, Jalen Suggs still questionable there. Could bring up some of these value guys for the Orlando side. But where are you going in this one, man? Cleveland and Orlando.
Yeah, this should be a good real-life game tonight. I think Evan Mobley is out is what I'm seeing. So with Mobley out, that really, to me, that kind of strikes up Banchero and then Wagner on the other side. I don't mind either one of those, getting a backup going against what I would assume would be Dean Wade, Niang type of folks. I really like Banchero, really like Franz Wagner tonight in this game. And then with no Mobley out there, obviously that's gonna lead more opportunities. No Levert as well, so more opportunities for Donovan Mitchell, Jarrett Allen. And then my favorite out of those three would be Darius Garland. Is actually my favorite Cavalier, just strictly based on his price, $7,700 over on DraftKings, saving $1,800 off of Donovan Mitchell. I'm looking forward to this game. Going to be a good game. I won't see it because I'll be at the Memphis game, but should be a good one. So Darius Garland, Banchero, and Franz Wagner would kind of be how I rotate these guys in and out.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown. I think you can take a shot at Jarrett Allen here, but overall from this game, I'm going to be under on this game completely. I know Paul Banchero has been balling out right now, but I'm going to be under on this whole game in general here. Obviously, 13-game slate. I get it. It's a close spread here, but I think everyone's appropriately priced. Not a ton of injury news in this one. So for me, this game's kind of a cross-off here. Let's jump into the next game here. We got Indy and Detroit. Pretty juicy game here. 248 is the total. Only a 7-point spread. Obviously, Tyrese Halliburton up to 10-9. I mean, he's been deserving of that price point. The guy's been absolutely nuking here and now gets a stone nut matchup against Detroit. Have to talk on him versus Embiid. You got Cade Cunningham on the other side. Where are you going in this one? Juiciest game on the slate in terms of a totals perspective, up all the way up to almost 250.
Yeah, real quick. Hey, Smarty, you were late to the party, but man, I'm in a hotel room. I left my landing gear at home. Sorry about that. That was hilarious what Tambo did. I'll have it back though next week. I'm in a hotel in Memphis right now, but yeah, this should be a good game. As far as scored a lot of daily fantasy points. My personal take is that this is going to be tough for the Pacers to get up for right? Playing prime time against the Lakers, now coming back, to reality, if you will, playing the Detroit Pistons, arguably the worst team in the National Basketball Association. So I like some of these Pistons. I like Killian Hayes, 5,500, point guard eligible on DK. I mean, certainly you can play Halliburton. He's amazing. But, going on the road, going into Detroit, I'm going to be lower on Halliburton than maybe most. My second favorite one would be Isaiah Stewart, power forward and center eligible. Should be thin in the front court. Duran, I think, is either out or is questionable. And then the only other option would be, James Wiseman, who's at 5,200, is kind of the last man standing as it relates to the center. So give me some Isaiah Stewart, give me some Killian Hayes, and that would be kind of where I go. And then you can play these Pacers, but man, 10-9 for Halliburton is a steep price to pay, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think Halliburton comes in sub 5% in a matchup against Detroit. He is 10-9, which is expensive, but man, 73, 67, 64. He's going to get his 36 to 40 minutes here in a matchup against Detroit. I mean, blowout really isn't a concern here. I don't really look for blowouts too much. And I mean, if this game blows out, it's definitely on the back of Halliburton. So I do think he is a good spend up if you can't get up to Embiid. I do like Embiid. Embiid just projects way better. Embiid's got a nut matchup against Washington as well here, but Halliburton has a great matchup. He's been great as well. So I do like him. On the Detroit side, Killian Hayes, I'm with you there. I prefer Killian Hayes at the savings, 5,500 to Bojan. Bojan's been lighting it up since he's come back. Did let down last game, obviously against Orlando. So you could see a flop leg spot here against for Bojan. But I just prefer Killian Hayes. He's been balling. He's 5,500. Doesn't need to do quite as much. With that $1,000 does go a long way on a 13-game slate. So I do like him. And then I'm with you. Isaiah Stewart, I think Beef Stew is fine, but I just don't love it there. So for me, it's pretty much Killian and Halliburton for me in this one. But I think you do see a lot of people go to this game. Obviously, the largest total on the slate here is definitely a good game to target here. Let's jump into the next game here. It's the Denver Nuggets and the Atlanta Hawks here in this one. 241, another massive total in this one. Obviously, Atlanta, this is a good spot here. Good pace game here, pace up spot for Denver. Only a 2-point spread here in this one. Jokic, 11-9. I mean, him versus Embiid, $200 difference there. Talk about that, and then talk about Trae Young, this Clint Capella who's been smashing. Pretty tough matchup here now against Jokic, though. I do think you can grab some plays on this one, but you can argue Jokic's ceiling hasn't been as good with Jamal Murray back, so definitely touch on that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've seen Jokic struggle. From I guess I say struggle, not Jokic standards, if you will, over the last week or so. Some rough shooting nights. What does the doctor order? The doctor orders the Atlanta Hawks facing that team that does not protect the rim very well. I like Jokic in a big bounce back spot tonight. I mean, you said it. There's going to be three major spin ups that you have to see. Who you want: Embiid, Jokic, and then obviously Luka against this Memphis team that I'm going to see tonight. So those are going to be the three deciding points on tonight's slate. They all have pristine matchups. To be honest with you, I actually like Jokic a little bit more than Embiid. I mean, I know Embiid's in a great spot, but I think Jokic gets back on track simply because I think the game's going to be closer. I think it's going to be more competitive, and I think he gets out of his funk, if you will. And this is the perfect recipe. This Atlanta Hawks team, outside of Jokic, I like Michael Porter Jr. I feel like I like Michael Porter Jr. every night, but Michael Porter Jr. is showing really well over at our stuff. $7,000 showing a good value. So it'd be Jokic one for me. Michael Porter Jr. would be number two for me as it relates to the Nuggets. And then Trae Young is great, great fantasy player, but 10-1, I think I'm going to be a little bit lower on him. I don't mind the Clint Capella call that you said a little bit. He does a lot of things. Ownership's going to be in check, but obviously you can only play so many centers. And I feel like we got a bunch of centers tonight. I personally won't be getting to Capella, but I don't think it's the worst play on the slate.
Yeah, I mean, Capella's been good. He is still 6'5". He's probably my favorite play from this game. With obviously Trae Young back now, DeJounte Murray's up to 8'6". Bogdanovich is there. He's commanded usage 6'8" for him. Sadiq Bey's up to 6'3". DeAndre Hunter's up to almost 6K. He is questionable. So if Hunter does miss, I mean, that's about 30 to 35 minutes there that do need to be spread around. Both of these teams are basically fully healthy here in this one. With a massive total, I just don't see a lot of spots here to go to in this one, which is kind of crazy here. Obviously, that changes if DeAndre Hunter misses a little bit here. But overall in this one, I think I'm just going to grab maybe a Clint Capella, Michael Porter Jr. maybe on the Nuggets. But even he's up to 7K. I mean, you really need him to get you 45 to 50 there is what you're kind of looking for in tournaments at that price point when you got other guys in that price point that are in other better spots in better game environments with injuries. So massive total, I get it. But I prefer Jokic more at home personally. So I'm team Embiid over Jokic here tonight. Can't go wrong with really either of them. Obviously Jokic due for a triple-double or in line for a triple-double almost anytime he touches the court. But for me, I'm not seeing a ton in this game, which is kind of crazy to say when it's a 241 total. But both teams are basically fully healthy here, and their prices are up due to Trae Young missing a couple games, and prices still haven't reflected that. So massive total, long-winded way of saying not a ton of interest from me in that game. You can definitely pick some studs out, but I'm going to be under on that game in general. Let's jump to the next game here. We have the Toronto Raptors and the New York Knicks here. 220, one of the lowest totals on the board here. Tied for the lowest total on the board, actually, with that late night game between the Clips and the Trailblazers there. Only a 4-point spread in this one. Maybe Isaiah Hartenstein, who seems to be popping pretty much right now with obviously the Mitch Rob news there. Touch on Isaiah Hartenstein here I mean, it is a pretty tough matchup here against Toronto, Siakam and Poto and those guys, Scotty Barnes. Touch on that, and then any other plays you're looking at here.
Yeah, and Embiid is questionable now. I thought he was always questionable, but he was at shoot around this morning. So obviously keep your eyes and ears peeled for that news. But yeah, this game I like Hartenstein. Obviously, Mitch Rob out. I think it's at 8 to 10 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. So obviously the prices were out before this one came in. I think Hartenstein's going to be tough to fade tonight. My own opinion. I think he can 8x his projection by pretty easy tonight. Right, should play 31, 32 minutes. But the backup center Jericho Sims, played sparingly all season. So I think Tibbs, trusts Hartenstein and is going to play a lot. And he does so many different things for this team: rebounds, offensive rebounds, blocks, steals, things like that. I like Hartenstein at that price, 4,600. It just opens up so much for your roster. And then also like if Jalen Brunson, who's questionable, but I believe is going to play, if he happens to sit, I do like Emmanuel Quickly at the point guard position should Jalen Brunson sit. I think that's a great play for that. But it's going to be Hartenstein for me. Siakam or Scotty Barnes on the other side I think is fine. A little bit too pricey for me, but I'm definitely going to have some Hartenstein in my lineup.
Yeah, I see some talk with Mark in the chat about Scotty Barnes. I mean, it was a matchup against Charlotte, which is basically a stone nut matchup there in that spot. He is 8,700 here. Knicks play very slow here, a very good defensive basketball team. That's why you see the total what it is. With the Raptors basically fully healthy here, I don't think I get to much of these Raptors personally. Obviously, Otto Porter's out there, but that doesn't really do much. My interest is more on the Knicks side here, right? With Mitch Rob being out, obviously that brings Hartenstein another center. Obviously, I do think it's definitely a 2-center slate here tonight for me personally. Like I said, I like Embiid a lot if he plays. There's plenty of other centers that we already mentioned here. Hartenstein being one of them, 4,600. He's going to get ownership, but it's just hard to ignore. The minutes are going to be there. I expect 30 to 35 minutes here, 30 to 34 minutes, something like that, as long as he stays out of foul trouble. So I do like that. For me, pretty much nobody else in this game, just eating the kind of value with Hartenstein. Let's jump into to the game of the night here for you, Mr. Hamwich here, Dallas and Memphis. But before we do, if you guys haven't hit that like button, hit that like button. Helps us out a ton. Hit the subscribe button. We're on the drive for 5 here. We're almost at 5,000 subscribers. Once we do, we are giving away an annual membership over here to the nation. And again, if you are not a member yet, head over to SHIPITNation.com, click on join now, and use that promo code TRY20. Last day for this promo code gives you $20 off your first month. Gets you access to all of our premium content behind the paywall. Hamwich, I'll kick it over to you right away, man. Luka heading into to face these Memphis Grizzlies here. You're going to be in attendance. You stacking this game up, man. 7 p.m. start time. Luka, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson, Tim Hardaway. Where are you going in this one?
Yeah, this game's spicy, and it's like a 226 total. Hopefully we can hit that before halftime. I mean, just because I'm going to the game, I will have one of my teams just fully stacking this puppy. But, just speaking, in logically, Desmond Bane would be my favorite player in this game. $8,700 tonight. It was less than a week ago that he put up a 75 burger. I mean, obviously that was against Detroit, not this Dallas team. But so he has that upside, I guess is where I was going. Really like Desmond Bane tonight. How could you not like Luka? No Kyrie Irving, mind you. So Luka's the main competition, for shots to Luka is out. So that's going to bump him up a little bit. On with him, Tim Hardaway Jr., great price, $5,400. Also like Derek Jones Jr., $5,300. So I don't mind those three Mavs paired with Desmond Bane. So I really like this game. Not only will I be in attendance, but I think it's a good game to stack up with Desmond Bane being my favorite in the game. Luka, really like Luka as well, and then like Derek Jones, and also like Tim Hardaway Jr. With Kyrie being out tonight.
Yeah, one guy I also want to bring up is Dante Exum here, who's been playing great since the Kyrie injury. His price is rising up to 5,700, but should get 30 plus minutes here in this spot. He's going to be obviously a ball handler there alongside Luka. It's still Luka's team here. I still think I prefer Embiid up at the top, but on the Memphis side, I really like Desmond Bane. I'm with you there. I think this is a great bounce back, flop leg spot. Obviously, Minnesota, I believe, is the best defensive team in the league so far this year. That's where you saw Desmond Bane letdown spot. So I think you can flop right back, jump right back on the flop leg spot here. Desmond Bane obviously went off for almost a 50 burger, real life 50 burger there against Detroit. Now comes back here and gets a decent matchup against Dallas, who ranks bottom 6 in the league against shooting guards here. So really like Desmond Bane. Obviously, if you want to ping pong him and Luka, I think that's one way to get different. I'm seeing about 12 to 15% ownership on both of those guys. Tim Hardaway is going to get a decent amount of ownership, as he always does without Kyrie. I think I prefer Dante Exum, who you can play at the same position. I would definitely play Exum at the small forward position versus the point guard position at 5,700 there. Just pay up a little $300 more than Hardaway. I just like Exum more. So definitely a good game here. Not one of the best totals, but you're going to be in attendance, Ham. So you know what that means. Maybe you stack it up and just hope for a overtime game or something, right? And you just go to the ticket window and cash all your tickets after the game there. Let's jump to the next one here. Utah and OKC in this one. 234 total, but a massive spread here. 12-point spread for Utah. Touch on this one, Utah and OKC. From an injury standpoint, Lauri Markkanen remains out with a hamstring injury. Walker Kessler's out. Lou Dort is questionable. And then John Collins is questionable as well with an illness. SGA, another spend-up stud here, who's obviously been nuking, right? Coming off a massive game where he dropped 38 real life against Golden State, played 42 minutes here. 10-6 for him, sub 5% ownership on him is another contrarian spend-up. Chet Holmgren's been playing out of his mind this season. They're in contention with Rookie of the Year there, him and Wemby. Where are you going in this one? Pretty good total in this one, but again, pretty big spread.
Yeah, I mean Utah's been struggling of late, and from Kessler is out, and so is Markkanen. To me, that's just going to open up the interior, right? And so, who does that benefit the most on the opposing team? You said it. Chet Holmgren had a great year. I really like Chet Holmgren. I mean, he's on a traditional big man, so to speak, but at that frame, he's down there a lot, getting rebounds, blocking shots, scoring at the rim. So the rim protection is not going to be there for the Jazz. I think the Thunder roll tonight. So Chet Holmgren would be my favorite. Lou Dort, I'm seeing he's out. If he's in, I like him, but I'm seeing he's out. If he's out, I like SGA, but he's another spend up. But obviously, you can only play so many of these spend ups. My favorite play of the game would be Chet Holmgren, though, and that might be the extent of it because I am seeing that Lou Dort is out. Someone in the chat can let us know, but it'd be Holmgren, SGA, and then Josh Giddey would kind of be the three where I go tonight.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown. I do like SGA quite a bit. If you can't get up to that 11-5, like the Jokic's, the Lukas, the Embiids of the world, I think going up to 10-6 SGA here, he checks out pretty good in this spot here. It is obviously OKC's favored by 12 here, so little risk for a blowout there, but I don't factor that in too much. I mean, if it blows out, it's definitely likely on the back of SGA here. So really like SGA in this spot. On the Utah side, if John Collins misses, you could see some more run for guys like Yurtseven here. Kelly Olynyk could get a little bump. Other guys like Fontecchio, Agbaji maybe, but hard to know right now with the news. He is still questionable, but that's 30 to 35 minutes that would be up for grabs and a lot of usage there if John Collins does sit in this spot. So definitely have to monitor that. Let's jump into the next game here. Minnesota and the Pelicans in this one. 223 is the total, 3-point spread here. Minnesota favored by 3. Anthony Edwards questionable. Jaden McDaniels questionable in this one. Again, Minnesota, I believe, is the best defensive team in the league so far this season. Not a ton of interest for me in this one. I think it's going to be a real-life good basketball game here, but we care about DFS. We care about underpriced spots, injury spots. I'm seeing no plays for me for this one. Do you agree?
Yep, 13-game slate just turned into a 12-game slate. I'm with you on that one.
All right, excellent. Let's move on. Talking about Chicago and Milwaukee here. Another stud on this slate. Obviously, 13 games brings all the studs into play here. You got Giannis at home here against the Bulls. I'm pretty sure Giannis has pretty solid history against the Bulls for whatever that means, if you want to take it for what it is. But 234 is the total here in this one. Milwaukee, 11-point favorites, I believe, here. You got a pretty much fully healthy Milwaukee team. You got some questionable tags, Caruso, Patrick Williams on the Bulls side. Where are you going in this one? You got Vucevic and Giannis look like decent plays off the top. But, again, it's another stud argument here. And Milwaukee's fully healthy here. You still got Dame there at 9-4, Dame time in Milwaukee. Where are you going in this one? Milwaukee, Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can play Giannis, the Greek Freak, anytime. I think I'm going to go other places tonight. Just from the reports I'm seeing, he may not get a full workload, and I just like some other spend-ups better. But my favorite Buck, I think the Bucks roll the Bulls. Is going to be Brock Lopez. I like Brock Lopez tonight as one of my favorite Bucks versus this Chicago team. On the flip side, if Patrick Williams plays at 5,700, I really like Patrick Williams tonight. Small forward, power forward, eligible. Has been playing well the last couple games, and so I like him at that price tag. Milwaukee is so good that they have so many mouths to feed, so many good players. It's almost kind of like the Chiefs of the NBA. It's outside of Giannis, it's tough to kind of pick and who's going to have a good night. So I would take Brolo and then Patrick Williams to kind of be the extent of it for me in this game.
Yeah, really not a ton of interest here. I do like that Brook Lopez play a little bit as an unknown center play. at 6,500. Obviously, center's loaded on the slate, especially when you take a guy like Isaiah Hartenstein, right, who's kind of thrusted into a bunch of minutes due to the Mitch Robinson injury, excuse me, there. So Brook Lopez, but overall, I think this game is a pass for me. Again, Bucks fully healthy, large spread. Bucks should be able to handle the Bulls here pretty easily. So pretty much another cross-off spot for me. Let's jump into this next game here, which should be a pretty good one here. Houston, San Antonio, 226 is the total in this one. Pace up spot a little bit here for Houston. Houston, 8-point favorites here. San Antonio, you got Sengun, who's, again, another center popping off the page here. Gets a great matchup here against the Spurs. Centers against the Spurs have crushed. And then Victor Wembanyama has been playing out of his freaking mind here. Are you going back to Wemby here at 8-8? I mean, that price point is very, very nice on him. You got Fred VanVleet on the other side, Sengun. I think this game's pretty juicy from a DFS perspective. What do you see here?
Yeah, I'm a little bit different than you on this. I don't the Spurs, I mean, obviously they're not very good. They've lost, I don't know what, 15, 16 in a row. They're just tough to predict. I mean, I like Fred VanVleet over on FanDuel, where he's got a much better price. I mean, the Spurs are bad against centers. They're bad against point guards just as well. So FVV, I'm down with FVV tonight. I don't mind him, especially on FanDuel. I think he's a better player over there. And then Sengun is, and you said it, he's played out of his mind this year. But center position is so loaded. I mean, you can play at most two on DraftKings, and if you get one that's power forward center eligible, I guess you could play three theoretically, but only one on FanDuel, so it's going to be tough. And although I do like Sengun, I think this game plays slower and lower than some of the other spots that we want to hit. So I'll be off of Sengun tonight. I think he's a great play, but I like other centers. And then Fred VanVleet would be my preference over on FanDuel. Great price over there. And like I said, Spurs can't guard the point guard position. Wemby, I'm okay with. I will not have any Wemby on my main team tonight.
Yeah, I think this I do have a little bit more interest, it seems, than you do in this spot. But again, basically both these teams fully healthy, right? So their price points are basically pretty fair for the statuses of the team. Fred VanVleet, 8-3, I think, is my favorite Houston play. Again, Sengun, I would love him, but he's up to almost 9K, right? 8,900 at a loaded center position on the slate. I really like Embiid. You got the value with Hartenstein already. So going to be tough to get to a guy like Sengun. So, I mean, it is a decent game here. I do think it is fine, but it's going to be hard to fit some of these plays, I think, just because, right, both these teams pretty much fully healthy here. Not one of the best totals. We got some totals up approaching 250 right on the slate, which obviously definitely are more intriguing than this spot here. Let's jump into the next game here. Brooklyn and Sacramento. We got this one, and then the Clippers, the last game. This one is a 236, so a pretty good total here. Just a 4-point spread in this one. Sacramento favored by 4. De'Aaron Fox here. Is it a Fox time for you? You got Fox or Sabonis, right? You got both of them there. Malik Monk is questionable. Obviously, if he misses, that helps out Fox, helps out Keegan Murray, Kevin Huerter a little bit. And then on the next side, you got Dinwiddie, you got Mikal Bridges. Where are you going in this one? Sacramento, Brooklyn.
Yeah, I was surprised to see the spread as closely as it is. I think the Kings, I just feel this way. They are much better than Brooklyn, but maybe I'm wrong in that fact. I mean, yeah, obviously the news on Monk is huge. If he's out, that does bump up Huerter. That does bump up Fox, in my opinion. So if Monk misses, I would have Fox over Sabonis tonight. It's so tough to play those guys because they're expensive and they just kind of eat off each other. I know we've gone back and forth on that on this show several times. I don't mind Fox, obviously a good, real life basketball player, but I will probably be under on this game. 9-6 for Fox is kind of pricey, and then Sabonis 9-7. It's just tough to play those guys. And then on the other side, I'll be lower than most on that as well. I mean, Bridges, Dinwiddie, Thomas Claxton, Cameron Johnson, they're just all kind of priced in there together, and they all just kind of seem to have 15 points every single night. So I'm going to be off Brooklyn, and then depending on what Monk does will determine whether I take Fox or Huerter.
Yeah, I don't mind Mikal Bridges in this game as a contrarian kind of mid-tier spend. I mean, outside of last game against Washington, he was nuking, right? Crushed Orlando, crushed Atlanta, was playing pretty good, right? He's going to get his 35 to 38 minutes here. I don't hate him. Cam Thomas, 7,100. He's been awful. I don't think you can go to him. So for me, it's probably Mikal Bridges in this game. And that's about it. Obviously, if if Monk misses, might increase my interest a little bit in De'Aaron Fox. But with both him and Sabonis priced right next to each other, it's hard for them both to hit their ceiling here. So I'm kind of with you, a little bit under on this game. These late night games really aren't that tasty. So I mean, you got the whole slate lock in 2 hours before these last two games. Obviously, you got NFL on the TV tonight too. It might be an early night here for me. Might be locking in my lineups early and just hope these last two games don't go there or don't pop off from a DFS perspective. But let's jump into this last game of the night here. Tied for the lowest total, massive spread here. Again, Clippers 13-point favorites here at home. 220 is the total. From an injury standpoint, DeAndre Ayton's questionable. Malcolm Brogdon's questionable. So obviously if Malcolm Brogdon misses again, you got Anthony Simons play, right, as the late night hammer who should continue to chuck. If Brogdon's not out there, obviously 27 attempts, 21 attempts in the last two games. He's taken 23 3-point attempts as well since Brogdon's been out. Touch on that. But again, last game of the slate, not going to have this news before these other games lock, and you're kind of on an island here between this game and the Brooklyn-Sacramento game. Touch on this one. Where are you going?
Yeah, this game's kind of like that last game. I just don't know who to take. You know, you got so many mouths to feed on that Clippers side. Zubac, I think, is fine. Then obviously, like the big three, you could play any of those guys, but I'm just not going to have them on my main team. I think if you're doing 20-plus lineups, they're fine, but I'm going to be lower on them than maybe most. And then Portland is not a good basketball team. You know what? I'll probably won't have anybody. Just looking at the players, I probably won't have anybody in this game unless some value pops late. If Brogdon and or Ayton sit, then you may get Grant's already out. You may get somebody that's cheap that you could plug in there if you needed some money. But I'm going to be lower on this game than maybe most.
Yeah, I don't like this game a ton. Maybe a Zubac, right? 5,900 as a low-owned center as a late-night hammer. I think if Brogdon does miss, you can play Anthony Simons, but again, hard to know that. He's still questionable with that knee. DeAndre Ayton's questionable, so if both of those miss, definitely gives a boost to Manny Camara there, and Anthony Simon are going to be the two beneficiaries the most, I believe, from those two guys there. Camara at 4.8K, Simons at 7.8K would be my two preferred guys. Chris Murray at 3.4K is a value. You could see him get some extra run as well. If those guys remain out, he's gotten 21 and 18 minutes the last two. But I think there's better values on this slate personally. So overall, kind of under on this game. That's all 13 games. Obviously, it's pretty much an early game slate for me here tonight. A lot of these early games are pretty juicy. So my 90% of my rosters are going to be locked from this first hour basically of lock. What's your take on that? And then any closing remarks before we get on out of here?
Yeah, no, I do think it should be a good slate, right? You got 4 or 5 of the best players playing tonight. Obviously on the 13-game slate, most of them are, but big boy price tag. It's going to be who. You're going to have to get that one right, and then find the value in there. I think there is a lot of value. I was building some teams as we were talking back and forth. A lot of cheap centers tonight. So I think for me, I'm going to have at least 2 centers on my team, and hope to shoot up the leaderboard, and hopefully this Grizzlies and Mavs game goes into quadruple overtime.
Yeah, quadruple overtime there. You'll be in attendance. That'll be good. There is some good plays.
I'll get that Buffalo Wild Wings, hitting that Buffalo Wild Wings buzzer. Keep on going in overtime. Right,
exactly. No, I think it's an interesting slate here. It's definitely a 2-center slate for me. I love Embiid. I love. Hartenstein's a good play. I think that's Hartenstein's definitely going to be chalk there, but. Overall, I think it's a great slate here. We'll have you covered as always. I see our guy Hebrew already has his slate plan up. If you want access to that slate plan, head over to SHIPITNation.com. Click on join now. Use that promo code TRY20 get you $20 off your first month's payment. We got the NFL Showdown breakdown up there, core plays, slate plan, things like that for the 2-gamer tonight with my Packers and the Giants, and then that Tua Tyreek and Tennessee game, which should be interesting. Both those games are kicking off at the same time, so we got you covered for all things you need tonight, all sports, NBA, NFL, NHL. We got you covered over here at the Nation. SHIPITNation.com. Click on join now. Use that promo code and get in the Discord. Best community in the industry. But that's going to do it for us. Good luck tonight in your contest for Hamwich. I'm Nadesify. Let's ship it.